Alright, so it's mentioned, let's go to Planet Sargasso. Which is a swamp. Lovely.
Eh. You know, I guess we were due for a swamp
hey
level.
there, friend.
Of course you are
You
here.
know, it looks like these here launch pads are out of
Okay,
goods, you know
dude,
what I'm
are
saying?
you like secretly a
Mr.
spy
Crypto
for
can
the
get 'em
bad
going
guys or
again, but
something?
I couldn't part with it unless...
Let me guess. We find some more Leviathan souls?
He's a wise guy.
Okay, I'm wondering if this guy's part of a cult or something at this point with how many souls, or at the very least he's selling to a cult.
Yeah, probably that.
Sorry, sir. Well, don't tell no one, but we're trafficking foster mice.
Sang Shung should have thought of that in Mortal Kombat. Just buy
jailblasts.
souls instead of having to take them.
I mean, he's still working with them to a
Where's the
degree.
fun in that?
He's still working with them to a degree. That's why characters like Ermac or even Melina came to be. So...
That is true.
Anyway, like I said, the gimmick with Sargasso is that it's Australia, because, you know, full of wildlife that wants to kill you. Okay, the big beasts thankfully will not kill you, but as you can imagine, standing near their stomping feet will actually hurt you properly, so you need to watch out. Go on.
So, Dino Australia, since those look like giant stegosauruses.
More like Brontosaurus, considering the size, but sure.
Oh, wait, never mind. Well, based on the angle I was looking at it from, it looked like a stego, but that might have been its... Okay, if that was his neck instead of its tail, then yeah.
Long necks and doesn't have the radiator scales on the back. Oh, Jesus. What the hell?
Okay, now that one looks like a T... Well, no, not entirely.
Remember,
That's not even its horns.
This was the mid to late 2000s, where the T-Rex were not seen anymore as cool.
Goodness gracious, that was a weird era.
Even Disney, okay, I don't know if it was that the reason, but even Disney's dinosaurs actually tried to avoid having a T-Rex as the main bad guy instead of having the Carnotaur, which is a much more tame version of a predator.
If I recall correctly, that had to do with the era of dinosaurs they were going with, but yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if they thought, let's go with that era with the Carnotaurs instead of a T-Rex instead. Like, maybe it's a coincidence, but man, it's really weird to be a coincidence.
I can tell it at least gave a bit of variety instead of, falling into, repetitiveness. So, again, unintentionally perhaps, but, I did appreciate it for that movie. Obviously not so much Jurassic Park 3, but, we already talked about that and we will have to anyway for a generation. So.
Pretty much I agree. Like, I like the dinosaur film, and you know what? Using Carnotaur's fine. I was even fine with Land before Time was trying to diversify it with whichever sharp tooth they would pick as well. Oh, God. By the time of the 6th movie, those kids legit have a body count against T-Rexes.
But
it's kind of insane.
Just to mention, when the smuggler meant about Leviathan soul is that, about these guys, it's just that on, different species on different planets for the sake of having a bit of variety, but the punchline is still the same. Big thing, shoot it until it dies.
So basically, Leviathan is any kaiju. Got it.
I guess the intent is, Leviathan-sized souls, I don't know. The species in the Ratchet and Clank universe are just bizarre, sometimes on purpose, so...
You see, this is a Leviathan. They come in many different shapes and sizes, but unlike Pokemon where you can capture them inside a ball, with Leviathans, you can kill them and harvest their souls.
Okay, I need to...
Just like how pizza will probably have you believe Pokemon is.
I'll need to give another reading at Revelations for the exact detail, but I seem to remember, or whatever book it was, but I seem to remember the original biblical design of a Leviathan was still different. Still the idea of, sea monster to some degree, but definitely more grotesque.
I recall correctly, very serpentine.
Well, again, I can imagine that was the pop cultural osmosis effect that eventually happened, which ended up, to cartographer depicting the bad zone at sea, do not go there with that, you know.
Hey, rookie! Kronk here. If you get the chance, you should stop and admire some of them giant fossils. Admire them? You went to school with half of them.
Portraits of it, but yeah, in terms of like a proper biblical
Description.
variation of it.
I know that when it comes to the behemoth is just strongly different. I don't remember who did the design that became so iconic these days that has been used for Final Fantasy and Yu-Gi-Oh! As in
I believe
the pink leonine creature with a fish tail, you know.
I'm not sure about pink, but in regards to one of the iconic looks, there was a portrait done called The Destruction of Leviathan by Gustave Doré.
Okay, fair enough. We also have to remember it was also, you know, the medieval ages where people who had not seen animals or their best experience was badly taxidermied, you know, examples seen in a pawn shop, you know, handled from, you know, merchants who came from far away, had a general idea of what they might have looked like.
Goodness gracious. I love how Ratchet & Clank apparently predicted the boogie bomb from Fortnite.
I mean, to be fair, at the cost of sounding like, I forgot who specific was of the development team of Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite, you know, a weapon, a firearm, at the end of the day is just a function, you know. Again...
Peter, the combo fiend
fiend.
lover. Peter.
Again, it might just, you know, look fancy, but maybe just a shot. It's still a shotgun. It might look fancy, you know, or different. But oh no, this I forgot. Okay, now you get this. Here's the interracial Bianchi minigame. It's the ball rolls onto a surface, and you have to have it go from point A to point B. And guess how you rotate the whole fucking thing?
The 6-axis!
My favorite.
And this one, I'm guessing, is required. No turning it off here.
Okay, it's been a while since I properly played this, but if I recall correctly, yes.
Ratchet, I believe I know the way to the testing facility. Hold on.
Also, yeah, we haven't actually talked about him since I started properly using that little robot body that I have that has been following us for a while now. That's been introduced as a side weapon, but it will probably be introduced as a proper weapon starting with a crack in time. His name is Mr. Zircon. Dibs, would you do the honor and check who is he voiced by? I know it is, but let's have it as a surprise.
Oh boy.
The Zonies say the facility is in this sector.
When this is over, we should probably have Big Al check you out. You may have fried a sister board.
In the games, he's voiced by Mark Growy.
A.K.A. Mario from Hotel Mario.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, surprisingly enough, despite the horribleness of the CDI games, both the voice actors for both Hotel Mario and the Zelda CDI games did have some sort of career. The voice actors for Mario for the Hotel Mario had a bit of a better luck, technically. But because, you know, the guy is still hanging around to this very day, and he's been voicing Zircon ever since, so, you know, including his last major appearance in Rift Apart, so, you know, he has been sticking around. But it gets even better, because it's not the last time we're gonna get a Mario VA for these games, but you have to wait until cracking time for that. So.
Well, he was also Leisure Suit Larry in the Land of the Lounge Lizards game.
Again,
beautiful.
He managed to actually still have a career, and I will say, to be fair, I argue the voice acting was possibly the least of the problems in Hotel Mario, honestly.
Oh,
The-
honestly, I'd
the
say
Zelda-
that's the case for a lot of them.
The two Zelda CDI games are more contentious, I will agree on that, because the deliveries sound potentially very weird, and, if you know anything about YouTube poops, you know exactly those lines by memory, and you will probably know that at least in one situation, the voice actors were so baffled by what they were reading that they almost started corpsing, on their coding booth, and that was the best take that they had for them.
You know, I will give. I've said it before, and I'll say it again. To give the Mario CDI games credit, this is back when the series was in its infancy. Standards were different for video games in general, and no one really had any idea what these characters were supposed to sound like. So for a first attempt, I do think the Mario CDI games were perfectly
I think the
fine.
Dick cartoon was still, a thing, so they had a field of reference, potentially with at least Captain Lou Albano. Luigi sounds definitely different instead of Danny Wells, performance for the Super Show, but Mario did sound slightly similar to Captain Lou Albano, so I will give him that. And it's more about in terms of personality, because one of the more infamous lines is Luigi being racist as shit and literally telling to Mario, when they're approaching something that seems nice, looks can be deceiving when the Koopas are involved. Like, Jesus.
Jesus Christ. See,
No wonder Bowser's
now,
so angry with Mario.
See. Now, this is why Luigi is so nervous in the future, because he's afraid of his old past getting dug up and getting cancelled for that.
Of course.
Is that why there hasn't been any years of Luigi since the first one?
I mean, to be fair, it was a commercial disaster for Nintendo, technically. Sure, commercial disaster for Nintendo means, a mild mosquito bite, compared to other companies. But for their standards, they lost a lot, apparently. So...
I mean, it probably did not help. It was also during the Wii U era where, things weren't always the hottest. I do wonder if the year of Luigi...
Though,
yes, believe so.
With Mario, Nintendo can take a hit if something of theirs doesn't do very well. If it was almost any other series of theirs, that series would just get thrown in the dustbin and forgotten.
Okay. To their credit, they don't always operate that. They brought back Star Fox, after all, despite some hiccups there.
And when was the last game?
Yeah, to be fair, Jova, ever since, Zero on the Wii U, we really did not have as much as a new game.
Okay, I will give this to
re-release. Not even... Okay, yes.
Didn't we get some of that?
If we want to count Virtual Console equivalent stuff, yes, I will concede you that. But, not so much of, say, a remaster or something, like, say, one of the GameCube titles.
I will say, Nintendo aren't perfect, but when it comes to new games for franchises of them, typically most of the times it takes a while is because they're looking for just the right studio to do them.
Also, Deji made a note that the Switch era actually was more favorable to some of the more obscure, IPs, as in another Code and Famicom Detective Club. The latter of which was not even, possible for people to expect a Western release. So that was surprising. And supposed listing that usually lead to potential release in future seems to hint that Hotel Dusk might be the next, so that's also promising.
I will say this, if Famicom Detective can finally get a localization
and
translation,
the
the whole
sequel,
kit
don't forget about the game that came out summer last year, that when everybody had no idea what the hell the teaser was supposed to be.
I know, right? Well, if Famicom Detective can make it, Mother Free's gotta be in the chamber eventually. Like,
how about this
come on.
instead?
And that's the thing, Nintendo are even aware, given how they okayed a Robot Chicken commission special about that.
Well, to be fair, that was like more than 10 years ago. Jesus, that was a long time. But
honestly, I don't even get why they've been sitting on the Mother Free stuff. Is it just because the translation is considered that good that no one would
I will argue the fan translation has aged a bit, and I'm not talking about bad localization terms, is that some of the themes of the game, when they were fan translated, were considered more fine, but to these days, they were a bit of, using a bit of outdated terminology. See, the general consensus that people have with Mother 3, as a whole, even regardless of the translation, is that back when it came out, it was considered too progressive with some of its themes, but for these days, it would ideally be considered not enough progressive. So it's kind of in that awkward kind of spot. It's complicated, and this is not really the place, nor am I the right person to talk about. Just watch any video essay about it, and you probably get an idea. Johnny's review did touched back in the day a couple of the things, but not all of them. Let me put it this way: if Earthbound was already baffling for people to expect, to be aimed at a younger crowd with whatever the hell, acid trip Gygas was at the end, including the way, Shigesato Itoi came up with that, it's literally trauma dumping, I get the idea. One of the biggest reasons Nintendo has been, careful in actually properly having an actual full official translation of Mother 3 until this point is because they probably have no idea what would be the best approach to, to have the subjects without people getting pissed about it.
Like in many cases, like I said with Great Ace Attorney, it would be so much better if they could at least be open about the reasons they don't bring it over. I do get in some cases they can't say that for legal reasons, but I feel like this would be at least one case where it's been 10 years, at least just say,
well,
okay, it's probably not happening.
Since the release. Mother 3, I think, was 2006, so there's that too.
Yeah, like now, I'm not as deep in on the Earthbound fanbase, so I'm not too broken up about it, but look, as somebody who thought that we would never get Great Ace Attorney officially in English, I do kind of get the pain. Although at least Great Ace Attorney was a spin-off, although, to be fair, even though Mother 3 is technically Earthbound 3, it's like, the previous two tales are hinging on it terribly.
Which also reminds me of the other point. Again, Nintendo, not super immediately, but still showcased that they had much less problems into properly translating themselves the first Mother, which they renamed Earthbound Beginnings, in order to release it on the Virtual Console program. So again, it's clearly not necessarily a problem of lack of resources or them willing not to do it, but just their approach to those themes that Itoi talked about back in the day.
Mm-hmm.
Again, it happens, but the entire point also is more the fact that maybe we will get a new Star Fox game. It seems that the whole leaked quote-unquote racing games was part of the program that Nintendo had to deliberately spread misinformation to actually create false leaks so that people would be put off or given false fake news, which I kind of applaud as a strategy. After having so many years of their stuff getting leaked in advance, sometimes in a very dickish bull kind of way, them actually having to counterattack without having to be assholes towards people online, that's actually not that bad of an approach.
Yeah, I can agree with that.
That being
and
said,
yes,
the poor employee who had their child actually leaking the stuff for Smash 4 for 3DS and Wii U back in that summer, I forgot which specific one, this ass is definitely fired.
Oh dear.
Hey, it's the Plumber with a sly new look and glasses.
I guess Azaki, your health finally is starting to dip.
Don't remember if it's now, but if I recall correctly, it will get voice actor changed to Jess Arnell eventually.
Yeah, it's not just that. I noticed he sounds more,
but it
I
don't
guess,
exist.
intelligence with how
They're
his
trying
game was.
to pander a bit to the more cool nerd stereotypes of it who are actually arriving at the end of the mid-2000s.
Oh yeah, I remember this. Suddenly
That
it
being
was
said,
revealed that
the Plumber is still leaning on the fourth wall, and starting from this game in particular, he loves to actually put our heroes in the right direction, let's just say.
What just happened?
I am starting to wonder if the Cragmites were ever vaporized at all. Perhaps they were just moved.
Ratchet,
Oh,
Clank,
hi,
where have you
Qwark.
been? I need you at the arena, chop chop. I think I may have found another CLEUW4?
Why did it zoom in when he said chop, chop, chop?
A dramatic effect? I don't know. Also, I can stand on the toilet.
beautiful.
Just so you can, just how I want
Ratchet,
every
I
game
am
to be.
worried
I mean,
about
hell,
Miss Apogee.
I can imagine
She
how
may
much,
have run
how
into trouble.
Relax,
actually,
she's
it wouldn't make
fine.
any difference
She's
in
got
it
those two
because you have to
women.
get them in front of the
Let's go
toilet
see
to
what
drown them
Qwark
anyway.
wants.
I mean,
Meet up
if
with her
Toby
later.
Fox can make an actual water cooler, supposedly being water dispenser intimidating, I don't know what to tell you. Now, if I recall correctly, we are done with Sargasso. I think I'll still be back for some of the collectibles that I need, but otherwise we're basically, going to the arena now.
So I think this might not be a swamp area, but more like a La Brea tar pits sort of area. You know, like dinosaurs, tar and whatnot.
Ooh, you done real good, friend. Now there are more out there.
The liquid
You gonna
between
make
the
us
island
rich.
look green enough to
Son,
actually be
why-
instead swamp waters, and vegetation still grows. That's not usually what happens with tar pits.
That is a fair point. However, I do think that the aesthetic is going for, I guess, a combination of what you and me suggested: swampy but dinosaur-oriented Australia. Since it seems like the theme was dinosaurs, even with the bones and everything.
Anyway, in order to properly meet Qwark again, you need to face another round, the proper set of rounds in the arena. Practically, this is where the blue enemies start to become more common and become more of a nuisance. Because they they tend to resist a bit more of your attacks.
Yeah, this reminds me a bit of Ratchet 3, where some of the story was progressed after these arena slots, basically.
Keep in mind, most of the other rounds are much like in the second and third game, even pretty much the others. Most of the other rounds are completely optional outside of having potentially unique encounters, but they are strongly recommended for you to farm bolts, experience for your weapons and getting potentially new tools in the meantime. And yeah, in the meantime, you also got a return of the Basso launcher that I mentioned is also present in Resistance 2, which wouldn't be, developed too long after this game. Again, it's possibly one of the most consistent weapons in, well, pretty much the entirety of Insomniac's arsenal.
Beautiful.
It's time for our next major contender of the evening. It's a giant, menacing,
Okay then.
energy creature of some
You know, this has got to be, what, the 10th secret dark arena that the government just hasn't dealt with?
Oh, to be fair, considering this one is on a planet that is known and everything, in this particular galaxy, I get the idea this might be actually sanctioned.
Though this does also...
And considering,
Okay, I might have...
remember, this galaxy is under Tachyon's control, and he is personally, supervising this project, so he's the government for this.
I might have asked before, but do they ever explain why, the defense force that was established in Ratchet 3 isn't, on this, since, invasions are
They
kind
operate,
of their
I think,
thing?
because mostly they operate on Solana, while this is another galaxy entirely, which, as a reminder, like I said, it is under complete control over Tachyon. The problem was him trying to invade Solana instead and failing at that.
Oh, yeah. Well, that was kind of my question. Like, you think that, their attempt at invading Solana would, kickstart the Defense Force getting on them, especially given how their leader, Qwark, was under attack.
I don't know what that. I think it's more of a case where Tachyon is convinced that Ratchet, being the last of the Lombaxes, at least what he believes, is the higher priority target, so it's probably because he wants to deal with him first.
Strangers I've never met,
and now the fruits
of your labor. One hollow
The Hollow Guys, Kickstarter, specifically a pirate-themed one.
And for the little guy, a copy of my new exercise book, Body by
thanks.
Qwark. Now you two can have the calves of a champion.
Did you call us here for a
Don't
reason?
overdo
or are you
it,
just trying to get us
Qwark.
killed?
Can it be both? I'm just kidding. Here, I found this in Tachyon's underwear drawer. I thought it was. I thought it might be a clue.
Hey, it's an Holobot similar to the one in the first game. Cute.
It's time for another installment of the Polaris Compendium of Historical Importantness. In this chapter,
That's
we
a
will
mouthful.
explore the galactic awesomeness that is Iris. The largest supercomputer in Polaris history, this mysterious behemoth is said to have an IQ of 3 billion. That would mean 170 arachnoid sages.
So I
or
got
3
so
billion
going by the
androids.
logic of shows I've
Built by an
seen,
unknown race
IQ of 3
eons ago,
billion probably
Iris
doesn't mean a
once
whole.
served as the ultimate
Pretty
search
much.
engine for the universe. Now it
The
resides
good
I mean,
news
to
that
be
it's still a
fair-
supercomputer that is in mysterious location that is also, unfortunately, in the hands of the pirates,
This has
so
been
we
another
have to deal with
depressing
them
installment
again.
of the Polaris Compendium of
course.
Historical Importance.
Well, to be fair, that one could actually give us
Maybe
proper
Iris
answer.
knows where the Dimensionator is.
Like
Let's
where
go.
where is the Dimensionator?
I can't do this undercover thing anymore. I'm not a superhero. I'm just a hero.
Oh, the
Oh, we're supposed
horror.
to survive without some kind of endorsement
Oh,
deal,
the
huh?
misery.
Well, okay, take it easy, big guy. Maybe you can be a superhero. You just need to stop being so self-absorbed and whiny.
You're right. This is not the time for vanity. It's the time to show the universe how amazingly awesome I am. I'm sorry, Ratchet. I hope you never have to endure the pressure of saving an entire galaxy. Wish me
Yeah,
luck.
whatever. Bye.
Never have to suffer that pressure. Never mind the fact that you were... Actually, no, you have been the threat twice. Like, I know technically the first time you were following orders, but now second time you were the main big bad, my dude.
There you go. Much like in the first game, the Hollow Guys transforms Ratchet into a very small pirate. Some of the grunts are still done by James Arnold Taylor. It's cute. And as an
Now I'm
example,
definitely...
let's get back to that locked door from before.
Look like a pirate, but can you dance the
You
jig
can
like
technically
one?
fool any pirate that's on screen using that, but in order to access the door, you have to do DDR. Not even kidding.
Yeah. Okay, let me go get my dance pad.
To your right, to your left, to your left, to the sky. To your left, to your right, to your left. Shake your booty,
Okay.
shake your booty.
Sorry, Luis, that's
Beautiful.
just how pirates do. I don't know what to tell
And they
you.
they blow themselves up when you pass. Thanks,
Just-
guys.
Just roll with it. So this optional area, which as I mentioned we couldn't access beforehand, actually takes us upward from the room we were just in. I don't remember exactly what is rewarding that, if it's another titanium vault or something else, but we're about to find out. The only real downside of the Hollow Guys is that you move very slow, but to be fair, that was a thing also in the first game in order to balance the stealth. Oh, there you go, it's the Titanium Bolt. So, you know, that's how it's balanced, and that was also what we will see in the next part. So let's see the other locked door that we couldn't get before, the one that was after the mini-boss pirate.
Only a true pirate may pass. Dance the jig and prove your worth.
Deja vu.
It's basically the same type of lock to each, of these doors. So the next level will actually also have a couple of them.
What happens if you fail? Does the eye blast? Does the eye of that door thing blast you away?
Calls you a faker and tells you cannot pass, or at least you have to try again.
My way's
Nice.
funnier.
We still need to have the players potentially achieve the objective waves.
Well, maybe that could be this game's anti-piracy mechanic.
I mean, to be fair, if something similar was happening in Spyro
That's a
3,
bit ironic. Anti-piracy.
it's not about the dialogue that Zoe tells you, but apparently from what people even reported footage, if you manage to get through the entire game, as soon as you start the fight with the sorcerers, the game basically restarts and overwrites your save file, so you're basically forced to restart again. So there's that. Anyway, tune in for the next part where we try to reach the pirate territory where the Iris computer is actually stored. See ya.
See ya.
Yeah.